Hi, Josh Barker with Josh Barker Real Estate, and thank you for checking out our market update for the month of July 2025. Let's go ahead and kick off that report by talking about how many homes sold last month in the multiple listing service. So right now we have a few more kind of trickling in, but it looks like we're finishing right around 212 properties that have closed escrow for the month. If you go back to the month prior, we were around 213. And that just kind of tells you that, we're in that summer months, but this is down. I mean, if you were to go back, probably 3, 4, 5 years ago, sales inventory or sales volume would have been nearly 350 in the same month. So this is a noticeable decrease in the volume of homes that are selling each month. Next thing to look at is just the average days on the market. That has come down a little bit. Right now we're finishing around 84 days for single family homes, and that's down from in the low 90s. Even just this last month. And that's indicative of, again, the summer months where there's a little bit more buyer demand, there's a bit more activity in the market, and that's kind of eating away at that days on market, which is good. However, when it comes to the absorption rate, that is climbing. Right now, we are crossing over into a 5-month supply of homes that are for sale. So anything from a 0 to 3 months supply is typically what we would call a seller's market. 4 to 5 months supply is normally what we call a neutral market, and anything over 6 months is normally what's considered to be a buyer's market. And this really plays into psychology. So sitting at 5 months supply, the feeling out there right now is the market's kind of flat. It's not really appreciating. In some cases, we're even seeing prices come down just a little bit. And a lot of that has to do with things that we're going to talk about here in a minute. Next thing to look at is just the new construction. New construction is still fairly low. There's 2 dominant players in the market right now. One's Palomar, the other one is D.R. Horton. So there are a few other builders out there currently that are building, but it's at such a low volume that it's probably not worth repeating at the moment. But if you are looking, there are some new developments on the west side of town and also on the east side of town. The lowest price point for entries in the low 400s, and of course it goes up from there. Next thing to look at is just the rental market. Rental market has actually got 2 segments to it. You have what's called the long-term rental market, which is anything over 30 days. And then you have the short-term rental market, which is less than 30 days, which should be like your vacation rentals and things like that. The long-term rental market is sitting with a vacancy rate of around 8%. And that has climbed just a little bit. And then if you look at the short-term rental market, that right now you're starting to see the number of units available is actually going down. People are transitioning some of those short-term rental markets to long-term rental markets just because they can't keep it consistently rented out. Or in some cases, they're liquidating the property altogether. So that has been something that we're observing that's changing in the market. Next thing to make note of is just interest rates. Interest rates right now, good news, they are coming down a little bit. We're averaging around 6.7%. That's down from the 7% that we were at just a few weeks ago. And everybody's going to be watching closely what happens with the Federal Reserve going between now and the end of the year. There are some talk out there that we might see a few different decreases in rates over the next couple of months, and we'll just have to watch that together and see. It's highly likely, though, that interest rates will be moderating and maybe even coming down some between now and the end of the year. Last thing I want to just talk about is just, and this is a bigger topic right now, is just the fallout rate in the market. And if you're wondering, well, what is that? How many homes that go into escrow that actually cancel and fall out of escrow is climbing significantly. We dove into this a little closer. I've asked not just our company, but looking at other companies as well, trying to see if we could identify that. We've discovered 2 things that are really standing out. One, appraisal. And what's happening with appraisal is that a lot of these companies are requiring AI to now be part of the appraisal process. And of course, with AI, they're not really taking in the same considerations and factors that a human might. So those adjustments for comparables and location and things like that are really having a significant impact on those outcomes. And we're beginning to see some appraisal challenges. And I think a lot of it has to relate to the AI component. So we're gonna have to work through that as an industry to help make that a little bit more of a smoother transition. The second thing we're identifying is condition of property. So what's happening is you're seeing that some properties are in a condition that once you get to inspections, the buyer and the seller can't come to an agreement on how to resolve issues that are popping up. So my word of advice on that would be is get educated early in the process about what might pop up in inspection. Be mentally prepared for those types of negotiations. That way it'll kind of smooth out or iron out some of those wrinkles that might pop up throughout that whole thing. So in any case, if you have any other questions, just know we're always here to help. Thank you for joining us today. Have a great day.